Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so this is the Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. I'm just going to be going over basically my thesis, my trades, in crypto. And really, before I get into all the details of that, I did want to do an overview of my thesis and also stress this, that this is not financial advice. This channel was started as a trading journal for myself, and that is effectively what this video is going to be. I will be putting timestamps down there, so if you're not interested in all of the tickers, all of the coins that I go over, you can skip through them. And yeah, so I hope this is helpful for you guys. It's definitely helpful for me, and that is why I wanted to be doing this. And so let's begin by going over this general overview of my thesis, how I came to kind of recognize that we were starting to form a bottom here in the crypto market. And so that initially happened maybe 2 months ago, something like that. I saw this meme here where it's, the crypto market's taking off and then ETH holders are left on the gangway. And so at that time, ETH was trading right around here, right around this yellow line. And just being approximate, I don't know exactly when I saw that meme, but I do remember it from years ago, and that ended up being kind of a bottom signal when, all of the sentiment is, that ETH is terrible and, the market's going to continue going down, or that ETH is being left behind. So that meme came out, or I saw it again when we were around this yellow line here. And by the way, this chart is the Ethereum weekly chart, and that yellow line, we were finding it as support briefly. That goes back to the lows from 2020, and the other pivot point is going to be the low here from 2022. Connect those 2 points, you get that yellow trend line. And so I was thinking, hey, that was historical support. Maybe that is going to be some support again. Maybe we're starting to form a bottom. But then we start to go lower, and I'm just thinking, well, is there anything else than I can see on the chart? And I noticed that, hey, there's this pivot high over here from 2019. If I connect that with the pivot low over here from 2022, get this nice green trend line. Hey, maybe there's a target there around $1,400. And, is there anything else that might suggest that would be the bottom? A confluence of levels would be really nice. I look back in time, and this pivot high from the very end of 2017 is right around $1,400. So I draw that horizontal line over. We got this confluence of levels. I'm thinking, hey, maybe that's the bottom there around 1,400. And on April 7th, just kind of out of coincidence, I texted a buddy, you buying the dip or not looking? I had no idea that would actually be the bottom. But that was a pretty well-timed text message, just checking on a friend, seeing how he's doing. Didn't want to put any pressure on him, nothing like that. Just curious, what he's thinking about. And, both of us just kind of chilling and stuff. We're sticking to our plans. And so that did end up being the bottom. That was around the kind of tariff wars. And then on April 9th, we did get this really nice bounce out of there. And so that was very well timed. And that made me start to think, hey, maybe the bottom's in, or maybe we're going to be near the bottom soon. I actually don't think I had drawn these green lines up at that time. And I drew those lines, or at least made a video about those lines on April 20th for ETHster. This is the URL for that video. Here is the thumbnail. Happy ETHster. Really just kind of based around Eric Trump's tweet that you can see in the thumbnail there. He was talking about Ethereum, being a good time to add back then, but we did dip lower. And this is a screenshot from a couple Saturdays ago when I first started doing these crypto corners. So just to note that. I will dive into the Ethereum chart in a minute. But yeah, so that video kind of breaks down my thesis and how I could see Ethereum going a lot higher. And so you might notice it, this red line here on the chart. That is basically my thesis, whether it's for Ethereum or for the crypto market in general. I think that there's a lot more upside for us to be seeing in the coming months. And so that red line is based on that pivot high from back here at the end of 2017. And then the other pivot point is the high from 2021 at the beginning of the year, around May. And that happened to be intersected with later in the year in November. And that marked, the secondary top there. So I'm wondering if that level, that line, will be tested again later this year. And that would suggest a price of around $8,000. So whether it's Ethereum or crypto in general, I think there's a lot more upside potential. And also, just for fun, I noticed this in last week's video. I think I grokked it to see if it was correct, and it's apparently not. But looking at the Bitcoin monthly chart on Coinbase, using Coinbase data in TradingView, I saw that the low was $74,000. 420.69. So, that just makes me laugh. Is the simulation real? I think this suggests that it is, that the low for April had a 420 and a 69 in it. So maybe that's another bottoming signal, just subliminal messaging, whatnot. So I find that to be fun. And then some other memes that stood out to me. These go back to April 26th. They both happen to be on the same day. This one was, following the 20% correction in the stock market. This guy here is panicked as the market is going higher and saying, but I sold because I heard a bear market was starting. And so, we could be in a bear market following that 20% drop that we are just going to be seeing bear market rallies, and we may not be getting back to all-time highs. So I think it's good to be exercising cautious there with this. But also I think this is a very important thing to note, that when everybody's bearish, that's actually, the time to go long. And so I feel like that's what we saw with Ethereum over here with the bottom here on the 7th. That was also, I should note, the bottom for Bitcoin and other cryptos, I'm sure. And then this other tweet that I have here, this meme, is just of Ethereum chatting with the Internet Explorer and the OG Nokia cell phones. They're both sitting on a bench and they're welcoming Ethereum to the club, basically saying that Ethereum's outdated and it's a thing of the past. And this, again, is just, in my view, a bottom indicator. And so while this stuff was being posted, while this kind of sentiment was there, while people are trashing Ethereum, we were actually forming a very nice bottom. Even when Eric Trump was tweeting about adding Ethereum, I believe, I don't know exactly right now, right this minute, I believe we are above the lows from that day. So we'll look at that in a minute. But just kind of wanted to do this little visual overview, but then just kind of break down my thesis up here real quick before getting into the charts and the data. And so my thesis, probably kind of boring, but this is just what works for me. And so my thesis is that Bitcoin and crypto in general will top May through December of 2025, corresponding with the 4-year cycle blow off top. And so I started doing these crypto corners, the Saturday before May. And, I'm just going to be doing this every Saturday, ideally every Saturday. I might miss one or two, but, once a week between now and December to see where the crypto market takes us. And perhaps this is the more boring part of my thesis, is that with savings, I personally can get slightly less than 4% annual percentage yield, or APY. And, I think that I could do better with crypto than that. And another aspect is that I do have some debt, but it is 0 APR, or annual percentage rate, I believe, until March of 2026. So I do have some extra money on the side effectively because of that. But I am storing 100% of that debt in savings to be collecting that APY. But like I said, I think I can do better than that with crypto. So the remainder of my savings, anything that goes beyond that 100% of debt, my goal is to have 6 months of bills plus expenses in 2026. And I have decided, based on this thesis, that the remainder of that savings that is currently less than 6 months of bills and expenses will be going into crypto for greater than 4% APY. And based on my budget, I got to do what works for me, is about $500 per week to dollar cost average, or DCA. And so my goal with this is to not have any more FOMO, not be buying the tops, and not to be throwing money in right after a rip. Just be doing a very kind of boring daily DCA to stack and then to trim out by the end of the year, with the goal of, again, not so exciting, to get greater than 4% return on this. So I feel like that's pretty conservative, and I feel like after the recent rally that we've seen, a good amount of my positions are going to be above 4%, but some of them are still going to be negative. And considering those that are negative, I have a lot more confidence in Bitcoin than alts, which here I have listed as Ethereum, Solana, and Doge. There are some other alts that I'll be going over. I'm going over 18 coins here. And maybe I can get a lot more return with something like Doge or some other meme coin. But I think generally long term, if I'm wrong, if my thesis is to be wrong, I would feel much more comfortable holding something like Bitcoin. It's tried and true. It is the commodity of crypto. Or, something like Ethereum, which is like the internet of crypto. And so, I think that this actually kind of misses the point there with Ethereum, and also with there being ETFs, stable coins on Ethereum. I think that there's a lot of promise there. But then Solana, it's a little bit newer. Doge, it's a meme coin, but I definitely think it has more utility than some of the other memes like Pepe. But yeah, generally, so that is my thesis. And then I can go over to the tabs here, starting with last week, which was May 3rd. Just to note, these are the tokens on my list, and you can see them in the timestamps below or the description of the video. My P&L for last week was negative for a lot of them. My daily DCAs were here as follows, with Bitcoin being $40. That is to accumulate about $200, $250 every week, or $500 every 2 weeks. Same with Ethereum, but I've just got a little bit more in Bitcoin to be stacking that. I have that additional like $4 or $5 to hodl that, for the long term. But then if Ethereum doesn't perform as well as I would like for that, 6 months of bills, then, I do have that Bitcoin there that I just feel a little bit more confident in. But ideally, I will not be touching that, and I will be trimming out the Ethereum and the other alts for, having some money on the side there. I was doing a daily DCA for Doge, but the price was above my average, and so I only did dip buys. And what I should do is I should probably, sorry to edit this as I'm recording, but I'm just going to do it like that. To note that that was actually not a daily DCA, that was a limit buy. Incrementally, as it came down 1,000th of a dollar, I guess, below every 1,000th of a dollar, I would add. And then coming down here, Ethereum Classic really just kind of wanted to get my average down so I could then trim out, because I don't think Ethereum Classic should be so high on the list here. I was also adding to, it looks like Solana. I just want that to be higher up in the ranking. A little bit more confidence in that. And then also Cardano, same type of deal, but just doing a smaller daily DCA. Avalanche, I was doing a dollar DCA just to get my average down to trim out. You can't see it because it's behind me, but Avalanche, I would need to store it in my in a MetaMask wallet, but I'm not as familiar with that, so I'm actually just storing it on Robinhood. So it's easy for me to do a slow DCA, get my average down, and then trim back to have that balanced against the other positions. And then I was also doing a $5 DCA with XRP. And I actually really like how easy it is to move, how cheap it is to move. So I am thinking I might want to continue that. But yeah, we will have to see it for this week. And I should note too, these are all the exchanges that I am using for these, and there is a link or links in the description to them if you are curious. And for all of these tokens, I am using a Trezor hardware wallet, or actually two Trezor hardware wallets. I have a Trezor Model 1 as well as a Trevor Safe 3 for storing some of the coins like Solana. They cannot be held on the Model 1. So yeah, that's just kind of the overview. And so now let's populate the data over here for this week, looking at yesterday's closing, the current market cap and then the closing price. Sorry about that, got this switched for these. And then we can see what my P&L is currently, and then kind of adjust these, buys to see where things go. And you can see here, in yellow, they maintained their ranking. In green, they moved up. So I wanted Solana, XRP, Cardano, and Avalanche to move up. But Avalanche really just to trim out. So this is kind of a, temporary. And then because Solana moved up, Litecoin actually moved down. And because these moved up, Stellar or XLM, Pepe, and Aave moved down, whereas these stayed at the bottom. Actually, no, these also moved down. I need to color them red. They were red behind Ed. You think you could see the Trump right there. But yeah, those should have been red. So anyways, let's dive into this, see where my P&L is. And then once I do populate this, we can then look at the chart that kind of tracks my P&L to see what's up, see what's down, see what I want to get more aggressive on. And so let's begin with the leader up here, which is going to be Bitcoin. So if we do go over to CoinMarketCap, we can see at the top of the list, of course, there is Bitcoin there. And I'm just going to highlight, actually, I don't need the dollar sign. I'm going to highlight that market cap number, copy that. Hopefully it copies. Sometimes it doesn't. I'll just paste that over here. Yeah, it didn't copy it. Kind of annoying. But yeah, I'll do that, copy, okay, and then I will just paste this here. I'm doing this divided by 1 million, and this is going to give me an error because of those commas. And so yeah, that market cap is, about $2 trillion there, so pretty massive. I believe that's trillion. Yeah, that's trillion. And then so let's look over at the daily Bitcoin price over here from yesterday, so May 9th. Let's see, the closing price was 102. So I'll just type 102.98696. So just going to get that precise. And we could see, hey, my P&L, it's not negative 100, it's 31%. So that is looking good. And maybe I actually want to color code this so we can see that I am green on that. So looking good. Oops, and when I do hover over this, you can see the quantity that I have. And, I don't want to influence you guys at all in the amount or whatever. I'm a pretty small time player, so the amount that I have of these is probably pretty small. But yeah, anyways, I feel good about that, 31%. I am just going to continue to do my daily stacking with Bitcoin, which is through Strike. And because I do the daily DCA, I don't have any fees with those buys. So that's really nice. And then to transfer to cold storage is free as well, as long as I do kind of a delayed transfer. But yeah, so let's see. Let's go back to the chart and kind of look at what's going on here. And so let's see, we do have this yellow line here that could be acting as some resistance if we do go higher. That's based on those highs from December 2017, the double top from 2021. And then, let's see, that could be taking us to maybe around 114, something like that. Maybe 120, I think 120. But also, if we do flip this over to the log scale on the y-axis, let's just see what's going on here. That red line actually, kind of lines up with the tops over here, the tops over here. And maybe that will be suggesting price could be going up to maybe close to 200,000. So that's kind of my thesis for Bitcoin for the year, getting up to 120 to 200,000, something like that. This Fibonacci extension here, it's on the log scale. That's around 166. So maybe we could be getting up there, but I do have to adjust that Fibonacci extension. I'm actually going to switch over to the linear scale here to do that. And actually, no, I don't need to adjust it. That was from the bottom here that we hit in August of last year up to the top that we hit in January, and then the pullback down to the low of April of, just last month. And one thing that I could do, I might actually just, let's see, how can I am going to just move this over to, let's see, the 1 month time frame. And then we can see what was the low for Bitcoin for that month. So April, we can see that month, the low, if you could see it up here, it does in fact say $74,420.69. So I find that to be fun. Gotta have fun with this stuff. But yeah, looking at the chart here, just kind of shorter term, the RSI does look like it is extended. And I actually want to add the volume here so we can kind of see that as well. It does look like we had, more volume over here, lots of buying the dip there. As this has been going higher, volume's actually been diminishing on those upsides. So maybe that suggests that we are going to be rolling over soon. We can also see the RSI does look like it's overbought, so it's above that 70 level there. But if we do look over here, we do have lower highs being formed, also with lower highs in the price of Bitcoin, although this peak in RSI corresponded with lower highs. So maybe in some sense we are putting in some bearish divergence there. But following this upside move and this consolidation into the weekend, I suspect we could be going higher, and a way for us to get an idea of where this could be going is by doing some Fibonacci extensions. And so just by taking the low here to the high and then down to here, that was a very nice predictor for it consolidating right around 95,000 there. And if I just extend this over, we can see that. So that looks really nice. We can do the exact same thing again for this next leg up. So from that low to the high here, and then the pullback. And I'm actually just going to do pullback to the range here, the lows here, although I should probably just do it from here. But because, that's just going to be pushing it a little bit higher to around 108, basically getting back to all-time highs. If I do pull it down to the lows over here, 107, 106, somewhere around there, I think that we could be heading in that direction. And if we do continue up higher, that would be potentially corresponding with this yellow uptrend that was, acting as resistance, has historically acted as resistance. And so I suspect that will be a tough level for us to get above, maybe, around 110, 115, or 20, somewhere around there. So, yeah, I think that what we're seeing now, and perhaps I should, draw another extension because we have seen another upside move, but we didn't get all the way up to there. So maybe I should adjust this to include, let's see, the 1. Let's also include the 786. So maybe that corresponds with where we're currently at, around $103,500 or so. So hey, yeah, that seems pretty good. So maybe I want to do another Fibonacci extension, but going from the lows over here, maybe from here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't want the range. I want that. So going from the lows here, and then maybe we pull back down like that. That could be suggesting, 110 to 112 or 13, something like that. So a lot of potential there to the upside, but there's also more risk. Maybe this pulls back and does something like this, a retest of those prior highs around 96 to 97, and then we go higher. So good to be prepared for that. That is a possibility. But let's get back to the data over here. I am, for Bitcoin, it's boring. With Strike, if I were to change this daily DCA, I would then have some fees. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it at $40 DCA. And so now let's look at the number 2 one on the list, which, to be honest, I thought was going to be Ethereum, but apparently not. Next week, I imagine Ethereum will overtake Doge. Crazy. Yeah, I was pretty sure that I had more risk in Ethereum than Doge. But anyways, my average for Doge is around 17.4 cents. And actually, I did get it down last week. If I do move this over, we can see it's actually slightly lower than 17.4. But I'm just going to leave it there so we don't have so many. Actually, no, I should probably adjust that. I think that's a good move just to be tracking that. But I don't think I will be DCAing anymore because I'm pretty sure the price is notably higher than that right now. But let's first start by looking over at the market cap of Doge, coming over to my favorite cryptos here. So Doge is number 8 as far as market cap goes. It's right behind ETH there. So I'll scroll up so you can see number 8. And the market cap looks like it's around 33, almost $34 billion there. So let's just copy that number and transfer it over to here so we can see that. And, okay, there's that number, 33.9 billion. And then let's add the price in for Doge. So just going to come over here to TradingView, and I will look up Doge, not market cap. I always forget if I think I did it. I know I didn't do Coinbase because there's not enough data. So maybe TradingView is this the one that I went over last week? I'm not sure. So Doge USD, maybe it was Binance. It was probably TradingView. Yeah, this has too much clutter in it, in my view. I forget which did I use last week. Sorry, this is Binance. I should just use this. Yeah, this is cleaner. This is probably it. But wait, what's that? What's that red line doing? It makes me think that. No, this is probably not what I'm. Yeah, I need a second just to kind of assess. Which one was I looking at? Binance. This has, that. Oh, well, I guess, we can just kind of see what this is. Okay, so that's a retracement there. And we did pull down to the 786, so that looks nice. We have this green line here, which is around 14. The highs over here that did act as a very nice bottom. And now we're going higher. And so, yeah, I feel like this is too much clutter for what I would have on here because this doesn't really matter anymore. So, yeah, I probably just looked at the TradingView data to suggest, yeah, this has to be it. But why? What is this, though? This is making me think it's a little bit wonky. That's not what we were looking at last week. But, yeah, I do have a yellow line up here at around that high. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to switch back and forth. Which one did I use last week? Yeah, this one has to be it because why would I include that red line? So Binance is the one that I will use. Let's see. And we do have, Fibonacci extension here pulling down to around 13 cents. That was the low corresponding with the price that we saw on April 7th. And we have now kind of taken off. Where could I see this going from this Fibonacci extension? That would suggest price getting to around, 53 cents. But then we could also be getting back to those all-time highs around 74. But yeah, actually, to be honest, I don't know that I think that I'm just going to redraw this because I would not think to go to Binance. I would think to go to TradingView just because it's, kind of default, kind of boring. So this is the one that I will go to, but I am going to delete this red line. Yes, remove that one. And, we got the yellow trim line there. And so what I might do, actually, so I don't get confused next week, I am just going to clear all of my drawings over here, which I can, let's see. I thought there was supposed to be just a little trash can emoji. I could just delete this stuff. But yeah, I'll just do it manually here. Sorry about all of this. But yeah, I don't want to confuse myself next week. So let's look back over at the TradingView data. And I should note the reason why I'm looking at this in TradingView rather than Coinbase. Coinbase data doesn't include that. Oh, hey, look, you can't. There's a little dancing Doge guy that popped up behind me. Yeah, sorry, you guys didn't see it. I was in the way. Anyways, I am losing track here. I'm going kind of crazy. But yeah, so let's go over here. Anyways, I guess if you want to see the little dancing Doge, you can go to the Doge data in TradingView, which is, over here. And so, yeah, I believe, yeah, okay. Anyways, here, the high from that, okay, yeah, so that's around 56 cents. Getting to this would be kind of a yellow cautionary trim out level around 74 cents, prior all-time highs, and then, of course, $1. It does look like, let's see, I want to pull up the volume with this as well. I'm surprised I don't have the volume on all of them, or maybe I can't pull up the volume with Doge. Oh, no, it's because it's hidden there. Oh, no volume data. Crap. So maybe I do want this to be on. So we do have the volume there, and I've got all of these. So yeah, I shouldn't have deleted all of that stuff. This is in Binance, and let's basically just replicate. I'm sorry about this, but this is helpful for me. Hopefully it's helpful for you. And if you're not interested in Doge, you can skip to the next timestamp. So yeah, what do I have here? So just this Fibonacci retracement or extension and that 100% or that previous all-time high there. So let's go back to Binance to do the same. Let's see, Fibonacci extension. This is probably just going to be approximate. But yeah, 56, so that looks good. And the highs over here is 786, around 47, so that would make sense as being another level of resistance. And then if I do add the 1618, we could see maybe some levels even further up. That would be around 83 cents we can see there. But before we get to that level, we need to consider the highs here around 74, 75 cents. So that would be like a trim out level. Getting above that, maybe we'd be talking about, going, I guess this is going from orange to yellow. That suggests less caution, but up here, more caution. And then getting up to $1, that would be a red line, a level to trim at. And we can see that, since I did just add the volume, I was a pain in adding that back up here. We can see that the volume really hasn't picked up that much relative to where it was at when it ran up to around 47, 48 cents. The volume has been pulling back. It's been consolidating. The RSI has also been pulling back lower highs, like the lower highs over here, but now we're starting to get a higher high, and that is relative to the high over here. So that is going to be some hidden bearish divergence. So maybe we do bump into some resistance soon, but generally, yeah, I mean, I think that Doge could be going up a lot higher this year, but I do think it's more risky. And I do, the whole point in looking at the chart over here was to get yesterday's closing price. I'm just losing track. Sorry about all this. So this is on the Binance chart. And actually, sorry to be confusing all this stuff, but I'm just going to remove these drawings here so I don't confuse myself. Yes, remove and delete that. And so I will not be confused next week. So now let's go back to the Binance chart. We got that there. And let's zoom in again to see yesterday's closing price, which we are currently above. We're currently at 22.76. So looking very nice there. But yesterday's close, May 9th's close, was at 20.49. So I'm just going to put that in here. So 20.49. And so we can see that I'm up 18% there, green, but I'm actually up even higher than that. So if we do look here, the current price is 22.76. So let's see, 22.76. Hey, I'm up 31%, kind of crazy there. But I'm just going to leave this like that. And I will adjust the significant figures there because I don't need that additional zero. But yeah, up 18%, better than 4%. So I'm feeling good about that. I will probably leave the $5 here, but that's just going to be a limit dip buy. If it goes below my average, or basically if it goes back to 17.4, then I'd start to add more $5 limit buys. So I do need to place that. So I will make that yellow so it has my attention. And then, yeah, now before I go on to the next one, I'm actually going to have a sip of coffee. I'm recording this in the morning for me, but I woke up late because I had to work late last night. But yeah, let's go on to the next one, which is going to be Ethereum. Let's add the numbers over here. And, for me, my daily DCA is 36.25 to accumulate to 500 over the course of 2 weeks. Let's see what the market cap is, my average being 1,900 there. And then also let's add the price in. So coming back over here, looking at Ethereum, it is the number 2, as I'm sure you're not surprised. Let's copy this number over here. Almost 300 billion, I believe that is. And let's paste that number here. And so we can see that. And then let's look over at the Ethereum chart. And I am going to do this. Keep this simple. I'm just going to go to the Coinbase one for most of these tickers. And we can see that, yeah, this is what I drew out, what I went over in the introduction. And then I also wanted to note this tweet from Eric Trump when he said, in my opinion, it's a great time to add Ethereum. I don't know why I have to scroll down so much for us to see that down here. But that was on February 3rd. And so that was, right here when we were starting to, excuse me for the zooming in, that is when we were down here. And we are now above the lows from that day. And so really, in all honesty, I started to get more aggressive following the bottom signal here around 1400. If I would have been accumulating starting over here, my average, maybe it'd be around the same where it's at, but I'd have more ETH. But I needed to develop a thesis that worked for me, not for somebody else. And, so that's what I've done. And so far, I believe I'm going to be in the green as we are, trading above 2,000, currently around 2,400. And if we look at the closing price from yesterday, May 9th, that is going to be 234529. So 234529. Let's just make sure that's correct. And yes. And so that is right there. And it looks like I'm up 23% on that. So feeling good. All of these are above 4%. So doing better than savings, feeling good about that. Where could I see Ethereum going? You guys know the answer to that. I could see it going to around, 8,000 by the end of the year. So the intersection of around 8,000 and this is actually August. So maybe we could be getting there before the end of the year. Maybe we could be going higher than 8,000, or maybe we don't get up to 8,000. I think it's going to be good to manage risk once it gets back to 4,000. That's less than a 2x now. but that's still notably higher, especially when we get back to around 48. That was the high over here in 2021. So good to be managing risk there. But from current price, getting up to 4,000, that represents about a 68% move to the upside. Getting back to 48, that's around 100% move to the upside. So a lot of potential here with Ethereum, and this just being, one of the, top two. There's no second best, Ethereum is that. So let's come back to over here. Yeah, I'm just going to leave my standard DCA. Once price gets up to 4,000, then I'd probably cool off. And then I'd probably start trimming my Ethereum, and I would probably do a DCA out. I think that's actually, I just thought of that now, better than just having like a limit, because, you're never going to time the top exactly. So yeah, those are my thoughts on ETH. Just gonna have another sip of coffee before we get into the next one. All right, and so the next one on the list is going to be iExec, which is ticker symbol RLC. This is one that's super speculative. You guys will see that the market cap is super small for it. It's up pretty high on the list because I'm taking more risk with it, which was based on a FOMO buy in 2021, bought the top or bought a pullback from the top, and then it never bounced, And so just my average for it is 319. I'm going to be pretty in the red on this, but we'll have to look over at the data before we jump to any conclusions. And there's also something pretty interesting that I wanted to go over, potentially getting my average down with RLC. And in order to see RLC, we have to scroll all the way to the bottom. It is ranked number, 389 on the list here for market cap. So it's pretty small. The market cap is less than 100 million. So that's insanely small. I could very well lose money on this one, so it's very risky. So do consider that, and dividing that by 1 million, it was just 93 million. It's very small. Then let's look over at the price from yesterday. So RLC, scrolling down, this is from Capcom. I want it from Coinbase right there. And so this, last week, I actually felt, not so confident in it. It looked like, that there's this downtrend. It was pulling back. But then halfway through the week, basically similar to what I am doing with Ethereum Classic, trying to get my average down to trim down so I adjust that position size, I realized, well, hey, I should probably do that with RLC, but I'm going to wait for Crypto Corner Sat Stacker to, evaluate this, and then maybe I would add to this. And so we have gone back up to this downtrending line. I believe I drew it last week based on the highs over here from November of last year, getting rejected here multiple times. It does look like maybe there's a breakout, but maybe there was a breakout over here and we just wicked up and got rejected. So this could be pulling back, but still this could be a really nice time for me to be getting my average down. My average is around 319, as I had mentioned. It's currently trading. You can't see it. It's just behind me a little bit. Right there. It is currently trading around $1.28.5. So that's less than, it's more than a 50% discount from my average. So this might be a good time for me to get my average down. But we will see here, after the rally here on May 25th, maybe I'd be buying the top. So I think that's something for me to be considering. But if we look at the close from yesterday, so May 9th, that was 127.46. So let's type that in over here, 127.46. And we can see that I'm down at 60%. So still massively down on that, not feeling so good about it. But I do think that, it might be worth it for me to try to get that average down to around $2, something like that, because we do have some levels. Let's see if we look at the chart over here. This uptrending. Oh, Siri thought I was talking to her, but I wasn't. Sorry if I said that and it screws you guys up, but it popped up on my phone. Anyways, this uptrending level here acted as support, kind of got a fake out break below it, move up higher, consolidated below it. Maybe that's significant. Maybe that should be adjusted a little bit lower to be, below. So I'm just going to, maybe that, I don't know. maybe that's a little bit more compelling. I think that's a little bit more compelling. And that could be suggesting price to be going up to around 150, maybe bumping into some resistance there. This purple downtrend based on the highs over here, breakout, fake out tops or breakout tops before rejecting, pulling back below. That would be suggesting price getting up to around 225 or so by the end of June is where the cursor is at. So still, a lot of upside potential. But this could also still be pulling back. So from where we're currently at, if we do pull down to the lows that we were recently at, that's around a 16%, 17% drop in price. But if we put in a higher low, it wouldn't be as bad. If we do go up to the white line there, that represents about a 20% move to the upside, and getting back to that purple line in June, that's about 80% to the upside, but not getting to 319, which is my average. And we can also see the highs over here around $3. So maybe that's, a level to trim out. And so I'll make that be kind of orange. I will make this one be, let's see, yellow. And this one, again, it's caution, so I need to consider that. But yeah, $3 getting back to right around my average. And so this is one that I think that this is incredibly risky, very small market cap. But if this does go higher, maybe I can trim it, break even, adjust my position size to be more appropriate associated with the risk. And that could be nice. So I'm considering maybe I do want to dollar cost average. However, because I have to purchase it via Coinbase, which has some notable fees, which I really don't like. I'm not a Coinbase One member or anything like that. Maybe that's actually something that I could consider. I'll have to look into it after this. Actually, maybe we could just ask Grok, because I did ask Grok about the fees associated with smaller buys. And so looking over here at Grok in X, we can see what are the Coinbase fees. And so trading fees, standard Coinbase platform fees. These are flat fees for small transactions. And so that's going to be me. I'm not a big player. And so for less than $10 buy, it's a 99-cent fee. That's horrendous. It's a 10% fee. What I want to be doing is getting a smaller fee. And so the smallest fee that I could get would, really, in all honesty, being a percentage-based fees, $1.49%. That would be for buys above $200. But if I don't want to do that, if I don't want to be putting in $200 or that much money, the best fees that I could get, we can actually just do some math here. It's going to be in the $50 to $200 range, or really like the $51 to $200 range. So I'm just going to pull up the calculator here so we can do some math. And so let's just see, like I had mentioned, 99 cents or $1 divided by 10 is a 10% fee. That's horrendous. So I definitely want to be doing a bigger buy than $10. Then let's see, 149, let's just do the maximum there, 25. So 150 divided by $25 is a 6% fee, so it's better than that, but it's still pretty horrendous. And then here, $50, that is going to be a $2 fee, so $2 divided by 50, that's a 4% fee. Or if I do $200, actually, let's see if I do $100, because that's really more what I'd like to do over the span of a week, is a $100 dip buy. And actually, I should do the $3 first, divided by 100. You know what that's going to be? It's a 3% fee. So that does look better, but really the best one is going to be a $3 fee for a $200 buy. It's only a 1.5% fee. So that is actually kind of what I'm interested in doing. And I could actually repeat that too if, RLC does pull back. And so let's consider that. If it does, and I was actually going to Coinbase One. I wanted to ask a question about that. What are the fees? Yes, Coinbase One. Subscribe to Coinbase One. How much does Coinbase one cost. And so the reason why I'm asking Grok this rather than Coinbase, it was very hard for me to find these, flat small transaction fees from Coinbase. It's much easier to just have AI, whether it's Grok, OpenAI, whatever you use, ChatGPT. So I'm just going to ask, how much does Coinbase One cost? Coinbase One costs $30 per month. So let's see, what is, it's not worth it for me. I would just be doing this small buy, maybe a couple of them, $3, maybe $6 if I do 2. I would have to do 10 over the course of the month for that to be worth it. It's not worth it to me. So thank you, Grok, for helping me understand that. But yeah, coming back over to here, what are some Fibonacci retracements levels that we could be pulling back to? And actually, before I even draw that, one that I want to point out is, right around here, 115, maybe down to here, 112. That seems like, all that consolidation there. Maybe I, want to come back to here. Maybe I just want to do a range. But yeah, I'm not gonna draw all this stuff up here. But this consolidation here, I would think that would potentially be acting as some support if it does pull back. So let's just do a Fibonacci retracement from, let's see, the lows here to the highs here and see what some of those levels are. So the 618, that will be around $1.10. We're trading at that just a few days ago. Dang it, I wish I had bought then. But got to deal with reality. Let's adjust this to also include the 50%. And I think that might be, a more helpful level around 113, 114, corresponding with that consolidation that I was just talking about. And let's just see, out of curiosity, the 382. I think that's I think it'd probably dip lower than that. But, maybe let's just leave those 3 up there. Those are kind of some options for downside levels. So if it does pull back to these, then maybe I'd want to add more aggressively. And in all honesty, maybe next week for next Saturday, it would be back here and then I could do another buy. So what I am thinking about with RLC, maybe it does continue higher. Maybe it pulls back, finds that as support, and then goes like that up to 150 or so. So, considering that, I don't want to be FOMO buying up here. I should just do, not too exciting. Would have been better if I had done it a few days ago. But to be honest, I didn't have cash in my account. I got paid yesterday. So that is the strategy that I kind of like. So with this over here, I'm going to say $200. And that would probably just be a one-time buy. I'm going to make that yellow because I need to add that. But we will see. Maybe I feel less confident about that. But I do think that it's a good time for me to really get my average down to closer to $2. So I think now is the time to do it. And then I will flip over to the next one in a second. But just going to have another sip of coffee. Got to make sure I drink it. Otherwise it goes cold. All right, and so the next one on the list, kind of building on that idea of getting the average down to then trim out to adjust the risk that I have to trim out at break even, is Ethereum Classic, or ticker symbol ETC. This is one that's higher up on the list than some of these over here. I think that this should probably be a little bit lower. And so I have just been doing a $3 DCA to get my average down. But let's populate this with some data looking over at the market cap. Maybe I want to continue doing that $3 DCA. I think I will, but maybe I don't. We'll have to see. Coming over here. So Ethereum Classic, let's see. I can't believe it. Pepe is above Ethereum Classic. That's outrageous. So Ethereum Classic is number 36 here for CoinMarketCap, and that's going to be just below, it looks like, $3 billion here. So let's just copy this number, and I imagine that did not copy it correctly. Yes, that is the RLC number. Let's just go over here, copy that, and paste that over here. Remove those commas. And so we can see that is the market cap just shy of $3 billion for Ethereum Classic. And let's add the price over there to see if I'm up or down. Spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure I'm down. But let's go over here to Ethereum Classic. And I want the Coinbase data right here. And so, hey, we're just below 20. And so from last week's video, I had done this Fibonacci extension that I could actually adjust because we did go lower. And so that would be suggesting that price could be getting to around 2050, that orange line there. And then I do have the kind of the highs here around 21. And so my goal is basically to get my average down from around 23. So last week it was around 23. Now it's a little bit lower. And so I want to be bringing that down some so that I can trim out to lower my risk, because I think it's a pretty speculative one, especially compared to Bitcoin or Ethereum. Ethereum Classic is definitely more speculative, but there's potentially a lot more upside, getting back to the highs over here. That's $47. That's a pretty massive upside potential. And this, I should probably color that line orange, in all honesty. Because I would think that's a pretty good one to take some risk off the table from 21 bucks. Sorry for going back and forth here. I'm just going to get that measurement right around where we're currently at up to there. That's over 100% move to the upside. So I think there's a lot of great potential with Ethereum Classic, but it could also, be retracing to maybe the highs here. And so that would be, let's see, coming down about 10%, getting back to those highs, or maybe 12% or so to get some more overlap with more of those candles. But yeah, here looking at this, what was the close from yesterday? May 9th. The close was 1921. So let's put that over here, 1921. It's below my average. I am down 16%, so that's not looking so good. So I am probably just going to continue. I will leave up that $3 DCA. No worries there. So that's fine. So I feel good about that until, I get to break even, and then I will adjust this so it's down here with these other ones. Just don't need to have too much exposure to the more speculative or like legacy coins, which I would say Ethereum Classic is less speculative. It's just more legacy because it's been around a while. But, it's also like Coke, it's the Coke Classic, Coca-Cola. Yeah, let's go on to the next one, which is Ondo. I'm pretty excited about this one, but, I don't really know where I stand if I'm up or down. Let's look over at the market cap of Ondo. And so that is going to be number 35, so just above Ethereum Classic here. Actually, regardless of my list, it is one above at 35. And so the market cap is just above 3 billion. Let's copy that number, which probably did not transfer into the clipboard. So that looks good. And then now let's look over at the price of Ondo. And we can see here, Ondo, Coinbase, dollar, so that's good. And we can see, getting pretty close to that level of like 106. So it does look like I am still down on it, currently trading around 103, but maybe it does continue higher. Levels to the upside potential for this would be basically, I guess, the all-time high around 213, 214 from current price. That represents an upside move of, about 100%. So not looking too bad there. If this does pull back some, I feel like it could find some support around here, around $1, or maybe down to here around 93 cents. But if we do look at the closing price from yesterday, so Friday, that was $1 and then 539. So $1, 539. And so I am down still 8%. I could get more aggressive with this. I could add more to it, but it's already at the top of the list. It's already above Solana and these others. I mean, Solana is the one I've most aggressively added to of these. So I feel like I should not be adding to Ondo. And also another reason why I don't want to be adding to Ondo is because I can't get it through Robinhood, which is just very easy to buy cryptos on. And I can do, dollar DCAs with them. But with Uphold, there's a 99-cent fee per purchase. And, so I'd want to do like $100. And so that's just a 1% fee. I don't want to do that right now. So I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to add to my Ondo, which might be a mistake because I'm getting pretty close to being at break even or being in the green. But since I'm not currently, I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm not going to touch it. But so now, I'm not sure these ones below, some of them I'm probably going to be in the green on. So excited about that. And so I might want to actually adjust these to be maybe dip buys. And I should also put, an asterisk in front of this. And I will do the decimals there so that looks the same as the other ones. But yeah, that's not a daily DCA. Those are just dip buys or just a one-time buy there. But yeah, I'm going to switch it up this time and drink some water before continuing on to the next one, which is going to be Solana. This is one I've been more aggressive on with buying, feeling pretty good about that. Been doing a $5 daily DCA with it over the past week. Let's see if I'm up or down. I believe actually I'm green on it, so maybe I want to calm down on that daily DCA. So we'll have to see. But yeah, let's look over at the market cap of Solana. This one's going to be higher up on the list. Let's see, it's number 6. It's above Doge. I can't believe that. I like Doge. I want Doge to be higher. But yeah, anyways, market cap, it looks like it's just shy of 89 billion. Let's, I don't think that's going to copy correctly. So let's copy that number, paste it over here, and get that there. And then let's look over at the price of Solana. So Solana, want to look at the Coinbase data. Man, crap. Oh, not Solo. Solana. It was like, why is there all this other crap on here? So Coinbase, don't want the derivatives, want the dollar. So let's look over there. And yeah, that has a pretty nice breakout from this Fibonacci extension that I've drawn there. Just going to adjust the axis so the volume's not overlapping it. But from that low that we hit on April 7th, that was a great historic day. And, I'm very proud of that text that I sent out. Up to the highs here, then the pullback to give the Fibonacci extension up to around $200, also being kind of a psychological level. It makes sense. Did hit an all-time high earlier. I believe that was an all-time high. Yes, of around $300. Let's see. The high on January 19th was $295, it looks like. So getting right around there. And actually, rather than doing that line up to the high there, I'm going to do it up to here. But maybe I actually want to make that be an orange trim out level, because maybe the thesis is, if Ethereum's going to 8,000, I would think Solana would be going to new all-time highs. So that's going to be around that orange level is going to be around 263 from current price. That represents a move of about 53% to the upside, so still very nice there. If we do pull back, I could see finding support around 153, somewhere around there, corresponding with the tops of this consolidation. So we'll have to see about that. But yeah, I don't really have too much to add to this. But one thing, I should, in all of the charts, I should do this, have the relative strength index on there. But I actually don't need that one. I just want that one in blue there. Keep it simple. I don't need the average or the smoothed over data. But anyways, let's just look at the closing price from yesterday, May 9th. That was 172.80. So I can populate that over here, 172.80. And so I'm actually up on this one. So I am going to, oops, I don't want to do that. I am going to color that green so we can see that I am up. And so that would mean that I should probably adjust this daily DCA to be just like Dogecoin. So it's like a limit dip buy. So I need to adjust that if we do go back to below my level. So that is something for me to consider doing. So maybe I'm going to chill a little bit next week. I'm not going to be so aggressive with Solana. So I like that, and that gives me more room. It makes me a little bit more comfortable because a $5 DCA over the course of a week, that's $35. That $35 making up that $200 there. Also $5 here, another $35 over the course of a week. That's $70 out of that 200. So there's some balance there that makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, let's continue on to the next one, which is going to be Litecoin, ticker symbol LTC. I really like the Twitter account or the X account of Litecoin. Very fun for being kind of like a boring token. You know, there's no fun dog on it. It's a very nice account on X. Very fun. But let's populate the market cap and price data here so we can see where I stand in my Litecoin position. And so Litecoin is going to be down here, number 22 in coin market cap. And so let's just highlight this number. And let's see, I'm just change, so I'm going to highlight it again. And hopefully I can copy that and paste that over to here. And we can see that coin market cap for Litecoin is around $7.7 billion. Let's check out the price now for Litecoin, and we want the Coinbase data in the dollar, so let's pull that up. And this actually, so far the day's not over, but it does look like it could be putting in a topping signal there with a big wick to the upside. Also, see that green dashed line going across there? That's getting into the bottom over here, so I suspect that's probably going to be some resistance. So that makes me think that we could be seeing a pullback on Litecoin. And so I'm just going to do another Fibonacci retracement here based on the low here to the high up there. And so getting back to the 382, that would be around, let's see, $100 right around there. Is that right? No, $90. And that would also correspond with this consolidation. So maybe what we see over the next week is something like that. Or maybe, you know, beyond the next week. Sorry, it's an ugly arrow. But yeah, I mean, that's something that we could be seeing, a pullback to 90. So I'm not going to be getting, you know, too aggressive with this one. But maybe, you know, it is, maybe I'm still in the red on it. Ooh, I don't want that. I'll pull this cursor back up. So yeah, let's see. What was the closing price from yesterday on May 9th? The closing price was $100.53. So let's see, $100.53. I'm at break even. Okay. So that's not too exciting. Maybe I want to do, you know, some very passive light coin DCAing, maybe $1. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that because I personally think that these other ones, specifically XRP and Cardano, should be above Litecoin. Also Link. I kind of like Link. I think that should be up there. Chainlink. So we'll have to think about that. Maybe, you know, I will make that yellow because I want to think about it because I'm zero. Maybe I do a limit dip buy. So maybe I should put that there so I know that would be like a limit dip buy potential. But let's get on to the next one, which is going to be XRP or Ripple. You know, let's populate the data here. I was doing a $5 DCA over the past week. I'm not sure if I'm in the green or not. We will have to find out, but let's populate that market cap data. Scrolling up here to see XRP as the number 4. And I believe Tether would be the number 3, which is a stable coin, USDT. But yeah, XRP, the market cap is at 140 billion. And so let's copy that number, paste that over here. And so we got that there. And then the price of XRP, let's look at that as well. Coinbase derivatives, don't want that. Coinbase dollar, that's what I want. And so looking at the chart here, did get this very nice clean breakout, kind of a bounce to test that looks like that was the bottom over here. So I should actually, it wasn't a test of the bottom, that was just the bottom over here. And so the 100% extension from that, so basically the distance from the bottom here, if I do adjust the axis so the volume's not overlapping, you can see the bottom there. The distance from the bottom to the top here, taken from the bottom here, would suggest a price of right around $2.81. We could also see other levels to the upside, potentially getting to around 338. But rather than drawing that to the exact top there, I am just going to, let's see, adjust this. Oops, to be, kind of those consolidation tops. Thinking about that, where could this be going? Potentially to 329, somewhere around there, or $3, some levels to the upside. But let's keep in mind what the closing price was from yesterday, May 9th, and that was at a price of $234.41. So $2.34.41. Did I say that correctly? $234.41. And all of these, just trying to think about the number of decimals. I should probably extend that over so we can see that. And I'm up 1% on XRP. So maybe with this, since I am up, maybe I want to wait for a pullback. And so maybe I want that to be, a $5 dip by DCA. And so I will have to evaluate that. And let's see. My average, that's calculated, but because the number over here is, my average, I don't need to be so specific with that. So I'll just leave that there. If it does dip to below 231 or 231, then I would start the $5 DCAing based on limit buys effectively. But now let's look over to the next one, number 12 here on the list, which is actually not correct. It's actually number 10 because this did move up. You can see it's green, it moved up, whereas Litecoin moved down. Solana moved up. These three moved up. All of these effectively moved down because, let's see, XRP was at the bottom. And you actually can't see that because Ed's in the way. But so those are there. So maybe I'll just leave Ed out of the picture for the remainder of these just so you can see them as I do start to get lower. But let's look at Cardano. That is ticker symbol ADA. So let's look at that coin market cap. Cardano. That I believe right here, number 9. It's actually lower than Doge. That's surprising. Not that Doge isn't awesome. It's just like, Cardano, I feel like has more utility than Doge. But it looks like a $28 billion there. Let's hopefully I copied that correctly. 28. Okay, that looks good. And we can see the price of Cardano. Let's check that out over here. So ticker symbol ADA. Derivatives, don't want that. I want the US dollar on Coinbase. And so the current price is around 80 cents. From this Fibonacci extension, which I can adjust, pulling back to that low there. And the low over here, again, that volume's getting in the way just because on the 7th, that was being bought up. So that's a pretty clear bottoming signal, big wick to the downside, lots of volume behind it. That seems like it's, the bottom is in. And, whether that's Cardano or others. But we can see that from that extension, that would be bringing price to around 87, 88 cents. We could also see it getting up to the highs over here around 132, but I'm actually just going to lower that a little bit, just corresponding with not the wick high, but the kind of consolidation highs. So that's going to be around 123. We do also have all-time highs here, excuse me. But I am also going to do this to not the blow off top, but I will do it to the consolidation highs over there around 294, 295, just below $3. So that is something to keep in mind. People, get fixated on these whole dollar numbers, $3, $4 maybe. But maybe it doesn't get quite to that level, or maybe you don't get a fill there. So I think it's good to keep that in mind when trading this stuff. But 87, 88 cents, that's the next level that I would be looking for, but maybe we do consolidate and pull back to, around 74 cents or 72 cents, corresponding with the highs from over here, or not the blow off tops, but the consolidation highs. They're the candle highs around 72 cents. So if we do take a measurement here from where it's currently at down, that would be about a 10% drawdown possibility to the upside here to that level. That's about 9% to the upside. But it could be going a lot higher, like I mentioned, to $3. Maybe we see those. But let's just look at the closing price from yesterday. Again, does look like maybe that's a big wick to the upside. Maybe that's suggesting that the top is in, and we could be pulling back to do something, like this, pull back to 72, and then go higher. So something to keep in mind with that. I might just leave that doodle up there. Yeah, let's just look at the close though from May 9th. That was at a price of 77.73. So let's come back over to here. So 77.73. And so I am in the green on this. So, man, I'm in the green on a lot of these. So I'm going to have to adjust that dip buy to, do I want to do it $5 or do I want to, it was $1 before, maybe I want it to do, yeah, because why not? Actually, yeah, $5 because maybe I only get one fill. And then, so maybe it's like a $5 limit buy, but then I adjust that to $1 DCA below because I just don't want to be getting too heavy in these that are lower. And so, yeah, so I feel good about that. I'm actually just going to save this. Maybe Excel crashes and I lose that. So I think it's good to, be saving that. So I just saved it and have some coffee before continuing on to the next one, which is going to be Avalanche here, ticker symbol AVAX. This is one that I can't store on the Trezor, or at least not directly. I need to be using MetaMask, which I actually lost $1 to MetaMask because I couldn't figure out how to get back to where I stored it, because I did it once and then revisited like a month later. That was a mistake. But yeah, I mean, I'm not dealing with a ton of money here with these that are lower on the list. So I think it's fine for me personally to just be storing it on the Robinhood to not have to deal with MetaMask. So that's me. That's how I'm managing that risk. And with that being said, with this daily DCA that I was doing over the past week, just $1, so nothing crazy. But with that being said, the plan is with AVAX or Avalanche is that once I get back to break even, I would then trim out and then do DCA's limit buys if it goes down, just to be getting my average down, but then to trim out at break even. So I'm managing that risk, while keeping the risk the same, but then increasing the quantity that I have. But I just have those dark because I don't want the amounts that I have to influence you guys, and I just want to keep that kind of private in all honesty. But yeah, so the market cap, coin market cap for Avalanche, let's look over at that. And over here, Avalanche number 13 here, looks like 10 billion market cap. And so let's just copy that number and paste that over here. And so right there. And yep, now let's check out the price. Okay, so AVAX. I want this to be Coinbase, dollar. There we go. We can see this had a pretty nice breakout, and I need to, let's see. I was saying last week that, if that bottom was in, that, the 100% extension from that low over here up to the top and down up. It's around 28.86. But then if I adjust this to be at the bottom there, it's around, 27 to 28. Still some upside potential there. If we do go up to that level, that would be about 12 to 13% upside move. If we do pull back to this consolidation highs here, that would be around an 8% move to the downside. So that is a possibility. But I think that there's also, possibilities of this going a lot higher. Looking at the consolidation highs here, it's around $54. So from current price, that would represent over 100% move to the upside. But from the highs over here, I believe this would be not the all-time highs. That's why it's orange, not red. We can see the consolidation highs here. That's around $60, give or take. And then the all-time highs, let's just adjust this so we have multiple days of overlap, because maybe, you miss one day, you need to have another day to be able to exit. And so that will be around 135, whereas I had it before at 146, 147. So let's just bring that down there to around 135. But then, yeah, let's look back or look forward to where it's currently at. I guess actually looking back to yesterday's close, so I can add that to the spreadsheet. So the closing price on May 9th was $23.28. So let's $23.28. Yeah, 23.28. So $23.28. And I am ever so slightly in the red. So what I probably want to do is, I'm just going to continue with the daily DCA, but then if this does go in the green, then I will trim out, and then I will adjust that to be a limit buy. So I think that's a good way for me to play that as far as managing my risk, getting my average down. Oops, I don't want to be highlighting the risk there so you can see the amount that I have here. But, spoiler alert, all of these down here, it's about $100. So very mild risk. The ones up here, a lot more than that. But for me, maybe it's not a lot more for you. I don't know. Yeah, so that's Avalanche in the red still. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that $1 DCA casual, but I will exit, break even or slightly in the green just to be managing that risk. And so now let's flip over to the next one, which is going to be Stellar or XLM. This was number 9 last week, but because of all these moving up, it has moved down quite notably. But, I didn't lower the amount of risk that I have, and I just kept it stable. As you can see, no DCA over there. But let's look at the coin market cap and the price. Maybe I'm in the red still. I suspect I am. And so let's see here with this. Let's see. Coin market cap. Let's go over there. And so that is, I'm spacing out on the XLM. Stellar right here, number 14 coin market cap, 9.48, almost $9.5 billion market cap. Let's copy and paste that number over here. And we can see that. And then let's check out the price. I'm excited about this, getting into the more speculative stuff that I am in. So XLM, don't want the coin market cap or derivatives. I want the price to dollar. Again, just like the other ones, we did dip lower last week, had some dip buying opportunities. So if I adjust this Fibonacci extension, that would suggest a price of 35 cents, whereas before it was at 36 cents. And let's see if I can, okay, cool. It's, Command Y. This is like a PC type of thing. I am in a Mac, if you can't tell, which I would do Shift Z. But anyways, shortcut keys, who cares? But yeah, 35 cents to the upside, a pullback to around 29 cents. I could see that given the consolidation highs here might be acting as some support. Also, support over here. So if we do pull back, maybe that's where we could be coming back to. Or if it does break lower than that, maybe around 27, 28 cents, the consolidation over here. But let's just look at some of the possibilities. The upside target here, that would be an upside move of around 14%, whereas to the downside, the levels I just talked about, around 5% or around 10% to the downside. Taking a step back, I'm just going to move this to the consolidation highs. So not, so greedy or ambitious, which I should note was at about 63, 64 cents. But if I do adjust it to the consolidation highs, not the wick highs, that is going to be around 56 cents. And then there are some other levels. I'm just going to adjust these. I don't think I'm doing it in all of the charts because I think I forget. But I'm just going to adjust this orange level to be the consolidation highs over here. Multiple wicks candles overlap. That's going to be around 73, 74 cents versus where it was at around 79 cents. And then the all-time high over here, around 92 cents. But if I do zoom in to that, we just got, a couple wicks getting up there, but let's get a little bit more overlap with those candle highs there. That's around 88 cents. So I think that's a more reasonable top to be considering there to, potential exit level. But yeah, let's just scroll over to the more recent price action and, just getting up to the 56 level there, that is going to be, an 85% move to the upside. And I think that there's a lot more potential to go beyond that if we are to be in, the final stages of the bull market where we really start to see some blow off tops. But yeah, let's just see what the closing price was from yesterday, May 9th. That was since 295259, 295259, 295259. And we can see I am red on that one. I could do some DCAing with this, but I think this is arbitrary. No, I think that maybe I do have a little bit more, maybe $1 or $2 more in this. There's some others down here that I would like to move up in the rankings, like Chainlink and Aave, in all honesty. So I would probably reserve my DCAing for them rather than XLM. And this also, I can't store it directly on the Trezor. I actually have to store it via their platform, but I do that via Trezor. So it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more cumbersome than some of the other tickers on here. So that's another reason why, I'm cool to just keep that as is. And then with me scrolling down so much, I might bring Ed back here. Just got the Uniswap above his head there. And let's check out the next one, which is Pepe. This, I feel like, it's unfair to say that Doge is a meme coin. Pepe, I feel like, is the meme of all meme coins. Doge is like the meme father, if Elon is the Doge father, yeah, so this is very speculative, but it's fun. Good morning, if you know what I mean, GM there with Pepe. And so yeah, let's look over at the market cap and price of Pepe. And so Pepe, is down here, number 25, below Litecoin, above Uniswap. And let's just copy that over, about $5 billion. I think that's probably not going to copy because it changed. So let's paste that over here. And we can see that. And now let's check out the price of Pepe. Coinbase dollar looks good. Wow, this took off some. And this is actually one that I don't think I doodled here in the Coinbase data. I think I probably went over to here. Is this what I drew? There's no volume data with the information on, yeah, so this kind of breaks my heart because I drew all these levels. Volume, let's see, I probably want to do Binance, maybe. There's not much data with that. Let's see, maybe Kraken. There's more history with this. So yeah, I think that this is a better one for me to look at for Pepe than looking at the, this is sad because I drew all these levels. So yeah, let's just, get our shit together and just redraw some of these levels, but in the Kraken view. So let's look over here. And so I want to be drawn, uptrend. Let's do this as an array. So that would be like, the bottom. So that would be like, good level to add at. It seems like it was most recently. And then I also believe I had a trend line going from the highs here to down. And that looks like I should probably make that yellow. It's, maybe because it did act as resistance over here, we did have a hard time getting above it, but now we are above it. Yeah, so there's that. And then let's see, what are some of the other levels that I had over here? So there's that. Okay, so now let's just do some Fibonacci extensions, stuff like that. So I think we're good to just go with the Kraken data here. And yeah, maybe I want to make this purple. Just, I like purple. And let's see. Okay, so some levels for us to be paying attention to with Pepe. I think that a level to be cautious around. If I do pull out the horizontal array and just go back to the highs over here. So not the wick highs, but just kind of like the consolidation highs there. We're having some overlap. I'm going to make that level yellow. That would be like a trim out level. That's around, you know, it looks like 5 zeros and a 167. And Pepe, I was thinking about Shiba Inu, but yeah, this is like the new Shiba Inu as far as meme coins go. I feel like, you know, moving up there. But anyways, that's around, is it 4 zeros and a 167. And then the highs up here, the consolidation highs, going to be right around, let's see the price here. That's around 4 zeros at 265. And so I'm going to make that orange. Maybe it goes higher. You know, I'll leave that possibility on the table. Yeah, let's just consider this. So let's see. I'm just trying to think of Fibonacci extensions that I could draw. So let's go from the low here to the high here and then down. You know, we're basically at that 1618 above the 100% extension. So that's the distance from the low here to the bottom here. Maybe we could extend this. Maybe that's a little bit more, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But I think that there's more upside potential to this. But I also think that this could pull back to like the consolidation highs, also kind of retesting that breakout. So I think that is something to consider. And that would really be coming down to around, that looks like it's 5 zeros and a 9, I guess. But let's just, you know, forget about the numbers there exactly. We got some consolidation over here, so could be pulling back to that. And so from current price down to those levels, that's around a 20% drawdown, coming back to retest that purple downtrend. That would be around 30 to 40% downside. Getting up to this yellow level, though, that would represent about a 29% move to the upside, nearly 30%. And getting back to these all-time highs would be around 100%. So definitely a lot of potential with Pepe, but also a lot of risk, especially when you see that RSI. You know, it's pretty over sold there. The RSI is around 82. So yeah, we could be seeing a pullback. So I would be prepared for that. But if we do look at the closing price from May 19th, 4 zeros, 12373. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 7, 3. Did I remember that correctly? 1, 2, 3, 7, 3. Yep. Okay, so there's that. And 4 zeros. I did 5 zeros. I'm an idiot. So down 35%. So that is one that, you know, I could DCA into, but it's like a stupid meme coin. I'm not going to dollar cost average into that one. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to have some fun holding my bags until, you know, this gets to be in some higher numbers. So yeah, my average is 4 zeros and a 19, which is, you know, above this yellow line here. So I bought in a little bit too early. I should have been more aggressive down here, or should have started buying down here when it was at that, you know, green uptrending support level. So yeah, something to consider. You know, this was the time to buy when everybody was shitting on Ethereum and stuff. But yeah, let's come back over here. Aave is one that I would be intrigued to dollar cost into to get a little bit more of. I'm intrigued by it. I think it's DeFi, decentralized finance. Same with Chainlink, or maybe it's not decentralized finance, but it's like a utility layer, just like XRP for, you know, having maybe tokenizing stocks, commodities, things like that on something like Chainlink or Aave, I believe, but maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, Aave is one that, you know, I've heard about for a while, so I'd be intrigued to get this higher up on the list, but maybe not super aggressively, maybe just like with $1 DCAs. But maybe I'm green on it. I'm not sure. Let's check out the coin market cap and then the price to see where Aave is. And so Aave is here on the list, number 33, just above Ed's head there, $3.3 billion market cap. So let's copy that number over to paste it here. And we can see that. And then let's look at the price action for Aave. And so we want to see this on Coinbase. And, oh, is that correct? Yeah, what did it say when I searched that? It said, this is what I had, but it said crypto DeFi. Yep. So it's a DeFi is what it says. Yeah. So I was right about decentralized finance. Hey, I know my stuff. But yeah, I mean, I had drawn this purple downtrend, did clearly break out of that. I don't need to adjust this Fibonacci extension. It looks good. And we have moved up to that 100% level around 220. So, I was spot on with that from last week. So feeling pretty good about that. I will adjust this yellow high here from being the high, the wick high of around 400. I'm just going to pull that down to like the consolidation highs. They're getting some overlap, so having some opportunities to exit or to trim. That's around 383. Take a step back even further, we can see that the all-time highs, I believe, was around $666.72. Lots of sixes there, so maybe that makes me a little bit nervous. But if we do pull this down to like the consolidation highs here, that's going to be around 626. Makes me feel a little bit more comfortable there. And so, yeah, I mean, from current price, let's, before I zoom in too much, from current price getting up to yellow, that's around a 70% move to the upside. Getting up to the red, that is around 180% move to the upside. But since we have gone up to that 100% Fibonacci extension, there's definitely the possibility that this could be pulling down, maybe to the consolidation highs over here around 190 or over here around 180. And so let's just, think about, like I said, this could be going up around 70%, but this could be coming down around 14 to 20% is what I would expect. So good to be cautious about that after it has had, this massive breakout. Looking really nice there. But let's just then, look at the closing price from yesterday. So that was May 9th. Closing price of 211.18. So let's type that in here, 211.18. Still down. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this could be a dollar cost average addition for me, not being too exciting, but yeah, just to build up that position a little bit more while it's still red. And that is one that actually, let's see, all of these, I think these are all Ethereum layer 2s or ERC20 tokens, I believe, or maybe they're layer 2s. They might not be ERC20 tokens. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is there, but these are all ones that go on Ethereum. And so with that being said, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about a dollar DCA with that, so I'll have to start doing that. But let's have another sip of coffee before going on to the next one, which is going to be a Chainlink. This is one that I would like to add more to, just like Aave. So let's see, am I red or am I green? I suspect I am red. But let's look over at the market cap first of Chainlink up here at number 12, market cap of around almost 11 billion. And so let's just copy that number and paste it over here. Got that in there. And then let's check out the price over on TradingView. So Link is the one I'm looking for. Coinbase dollar looks good. This, I do need to adjust this Fibonacci extension. So just to the lows there and that 100% extension. So from the lows here to the top here, that move, but from the lows here would bring us to around 1850, somewhere around there, just shy of this yellow line that I have drawn, which is like the consolidation lows here. I suspect there will be some resistance there right around 20 bucks. Kind of makes sense, psychological level. And then this is, basically the wick highs around 30.50. I'm going to adjust that to the consolidation highs here. So just having multiple days opportunities to exit. And that is going to be right around 29, just shy of $30. And then the all-time highs, if I do step back, don't want this to be the wick highs. I want this to be the consolidation highs. So that would be getting to around 52, whereas it was, yeah, still around 53 or so. So not really much difference, and maybe, you know, I could lower that a little bit to around 50, and yeah, I'll probably just do that. A little bit more price action above their opportunities to exit. So yeah, I could see that as being a nice level. And then with this zoomed out more, so I got this all in the frame here. Let's just see some upside potential here. So getting to that 100% Fibonacci extension, that's around a 12% move to the upside, getting to that yellow line, 20%. Orange is around 77, and then up to those all-time highs, that's around a 200% move to the upside. So looking very nice as far as upside potential, but there is also going to be some downside risk, as always with any of these. I could see, you know, the tops over here, also here, being potential support if this does pull back. So from current price, that would represent a drawdown of around 6 to 7, maybe to 10%. So good to be keeping that in mind. But looking over at yesterday's close, so May 9th, the closing price was 16,019. So 16,019, and I'm down 30%. So I'm going to make that red, and then I will just copy this one. You know, I should do some very passive, very nothing too aggressive dollar cost averaging with those, you know, while I'm still in the red. But also these being a little bit more speculative, a little bit more down on that market cap list than the ones, you know, up here. So, you know, being speculative, want to manage that risk. And then let's see, the next one on the list is going to be Loopring, ticker symbol LRC. This one's very speculative, almost as speculative as RLC, but not quite. This is one I probably will regret, or actually, no, maybe I won't regret, but I'm not going to be adding more to it. I'm just going to say that up front because I do have to make the purchase via Uphold, which has that 99-cent fee. Can't do it through Robinhood. So, you know, 100% or sorry, 1% buy on $100. If I do $100 less, a smaller DCA, that's just going to be a much higher percentage fee. So I'm not too interested in that. But anyways, looking over at the market cap, let's check that out. It's going to be second to the bottom, 273. So that means that there's a lot more upside potential with these at the bottom, but there's also a lot more risk. And so the market cap of this one is around 159 million. So very small market cap there. There's not going to be any, oops. So let's see, copy this number here, copy that, paste that over to there. That's 159, yeah, no commas there. It's a pretty small market cap. And then let's check out the data over here. So that's Loopring. So that's LRC, I believe, is Loopring. Loopring. Is that right? Yep, Loopring, dollar, Coinbase. So there we go. Do need to adjust this Fibonacci extension, which would put the top there, which we effectively did hit on that day of 12.55 cents. It was previously at around 13 cents. But yeah, I'm going to leave it adjusted there. With that being said, I think that this could be pulling back to around 10 cents or so, maybe 11 cents, finding this as support, also this consolidation. But I will look at some measurements in a second. Just want to be looking at these prior highs. Don't want these levels to be at the wick highs, want them to be at the consolidation highs. So that's at around 32 cents, whereas it was at 33 cents. And then taking a step back further, orange here, I'm going to adjust that from what was the all-time highs, or not the all-time highs, but the wick highs, around 55, 56 cents. Now I've got that adjusted to around 54 cents. And then let's see, all-time highs over here, which, you know, it blow off top around almost $4, $3.90. But what we want to see is, you know, having multiple days trading above these levels, so there are opportunities to exit. And so the wick highs would be around 340, not 390. And then I also do have this orange level here corresponding with this high. I'm just going to leave that as the high there. That's around 250. That would be another level to trim at. And yeah, so I am just going to zoom in a little bit here. But so we have all these levels to the upside, just so we can see where we could be going up to. So that yellow line is, man, 160% here. It's a orange line, 340%. This orange line, almost 2,000%. And the red line is 2,700% to the upside. So a lot of potential reward here, but also a lot of risk. So, I don't really intend to add to this, but with that, what is the downside risk here from this, where it's currently at those levels that I was just talking about? That would be around a 7% drawdown, getting back to these lows. It's around a 35% drawdown, getting up to the little high here. That's about 8% to the upside. But yeah, let's just look at what the closing price was from May 9th. That was 11.52. So let's type that over here. And so I'm down 40% on that. And this is also one, I could get it through Coinbase, but I had bought it via Uphold, and that is, 90, percentage fees, whatever. And so I don't necessarily want to double my position or anything. So not going to be doing anything there. Just going to make that red. I am negative. But, if I do get these other positions feeling a little bit more comfortable, maybe that is one that I would want to, adjust, but that would probably be after I adjust, my risk size for RLC or iExec. So that is something I will want to consider there. But yeah, down 40% kind of sucks. Hopefully we can get back to my average here. And then let's get on to the final two here. This one is going to be the official Trump coin, or Trump. Let's look at the market cap and price of that. I suspect I'm going to be green on this one. But maybe not. We'll have to see. Trump is number 38 on the list here, third lowest, but still, going from significant figure difference, an order of magnitude difference between these being in the hundreds, this being 38. And so this is a $2.8 billion market cap. Let's copy that number to paste it over here. And this is also one that's easy to buy via Robinhood. So, if this is red, maybe this is a compelling one to get the average down on. But yeah, let's look over at the price here. So Trump coin, and let's look at the data from Coinbase. And so I can adjust this Fibonacci extension to the lows there. It was previously at 21, but now I'm adjusting that to around 20. This is pretty new. It did break out from this downtrend and those, consolidation highs, 2 candles, getting up to that level there around $44. So from current price, where could I see this pulling back to? I mean, I could see this coming back to the consolidation here. That would be around $12, $13. But I think that this could also, pull back to the level here around $10. A lot of risk with this, but we did have a nice move up, and it looks like we're potentially breaking out to get up to 20, but we're not there yet. So like downside risk, maybe to 26% or so, coming back to all-time lows. Since it's so new, it's around 50% downside. Getting up to that 100% level, it's around 39% up to the upside, getting back to this level here, the yellow line, that's around 200% to the upside. So lots of potential there. And it looks like we are currently trading around $14.28, which is similar to the closing price from yesterday, which was $14.26. So let's add that over here. And yeah, I'm in the green on that. So that is one that I'm not going to be dollar cost averaging into. But maybe that's one that I want to do a limit dip buy on if this does go below my average. So I'm just going to copy the number here, paste that there, but just make that a 1. So, I do a $1 dip buy, nothing too crazy, and then I just kind of reassess. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you voted for Trump, if you didn't vote for Trump, if you like him, if you love him, if you hate him, whatever it is. This is not about that. This is about setting that emotion aside and making some money. And so right now, 7%, that's beating savings. So a good move there. And the reason why I'm green is because I dollar cost averaged into a position rather than FOMO bought in up here. After the little bit of a pullback, I started dollar cost averaging probably around 35, and have now gotten my average down to be, down here. So dollar cost averaging does work. I think this is a really nice example of that. Good to consider. My average is, near the lows. So that's nice. I am proud of that. Regardless of what you think about the guy, regardless of what you think about the coin, I feel good about that. And so now let's go over to the final one, which is going to be Uniswap. Let's populate that market cap data there. Uniswap is number 29 on the list here, about $4.3 billion market cap there. So let's just copy that number, paste it over here. And then let's look over at the price of Uniswap. And so Uniswap, Coinbase, dollar right there. And we can see that, we did break out. Looks really nice. Actually didn't really draw too much on this. This was, a dip buying level there. So maybe I should adjust that line to be green, because it was a nice level. And then up here, though, I don't want this to be the wick highs. I want that to be the consolidation highs, having multiple days getting above that level. That's around $18.60, whereas before it was at 19, about 30 or 40 cents. And then let's go back in time. We can see, I guess this would have been the all-time highs around 45, but I don't want this to be the wick highs. Like I said, I want this to be the consolidation highs. So we do have some trading above those levels. And so going from like 45, bringing it down to around 43, that would be a level to exit at or trim at. This could potentially be getting to higher highs. But, I'm kind of puzzled. I would think that this was introduced before 2020. So maybe I actually want to look at this on Binance. And no, just going back to 2020, pretty crazy. I guess unless there is some older data. Let's see if crypto. Crazy. I thought this was not that new. Weird. Okay, so those are some levels. I think that this could be going back up to 43. So let's just keep that in mind. Upside potential from where it's currently at. Getting to that yellow line is around 170% move to the upside. That orange line is around 500% move to the upside. So very nice there, but there's also going to be some downside risk. And so if we do pull back to this consolidation highs here, also the lows over here, that support flipped to resistance, it might be flipped to support again. And so if we do pull back down to there from current price, that's around a 15% drawdown. Getting back to that green line, that's around a 25% drawdown. So good to be managing that. And so let's see, the closing price from May 9th was 635.5. So 635.5. I am down 50% on this one. So not looking so great there. Do I want to do a DCA? No, this is a little bit more speculative. I need to get these other ones that I want to be pushing up higher. I need to get them up higher first. And so that's like, Aave and Link. So that is kind of what I need to do before, getting all this stuff, adding more aggressively to there. So a lot of this is limit dip buys other than Aave and Link. Daily dollar cost average is $1, nothing too crazy. And then, this one, RLC, around $200 there. But we'll have to see. Maybe I wait, but then if I wait, then I FOMO. So I should just, implement that and then see what happens over the course of days or to next Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. But then let's look over at the data. All of this data that I just put in here is going to be populated in this chart here. And so these were just hashtags. They were negative 100%, I believe. But now, all of them have moved up. And we can see that Bitcoin at the top there, I was up 25%, even though I've been dollar cost averaging as it's gone up. I'm up now 31%, so feeling good about that. Dogecoin up 18%. That is the hollow circle here. Ethereum, that one went up a lot higher. I was negative, and now I'm up 23%, so much better than savings. RLC, that's going to be the white one with the triangle down here, still down about 60%. So I still think it's a good time for me to more aggressively get my average down. So I do think that I will be doing that $200 buy, and maybe I'll do it again. We'll have to see. Before next week. So, will be interesting to see. Ethereum Classic, I am still down on that. So still just getting my average down to then trim out at break even effectively once I do get back up to there. Ondo was more negative last Saturday, but now back to around where I was, down negative 8%. And so that's going to be this white one here. Dip down, go back up. Litecoin, hey, I was negative and now I'm flat, and Litecoin is going to be the X here, the white X on the kind of boring blue. But yeah, at 0. So that's, I've redeemed myself there. So that I believe would be a limit dip buy. No, actually, that's at 0%. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe I want to do a limit dip buy with that. So yeah, I'll do that. It's just $1, so it's nothing too crazy. And then Solana, I'm up 16% on that. So that's the purple one. Was up 3%, then at 0, now up some. That's, I should say, purple with the, let's see if I scroll up there, you can see that. And I might actually want to, I wish I could move that over. Yeah, so maybe I move this up here so you guys can see it there. Yep, that looks nice, I think. Yeah, and I will probably have to shrink that for next week. And so we can see there, all those, that looks nice, I think. Hopefully you guys like that. And let's see. Yeah, Solana, I'm up 16% now. XLM, I've been, in the negative 30s. That is, let's see, XLM is the white hollow square right around here. Pepe, I was down over 50%. Now I'm down 35%. So that's the green one here. Aave, I was down 40%. Now I'm down 26% going up here in that kind of light lavender purple there. Cardano, I'm now in the green. So good. I was adding last week. I was down 2%, 4%, and then now I'm up 7%. That's going to be the blue one here with the white circles right there. Avalanche, still down 2%, but was down 12% last week, 8% the week before. That's going to be the red triangles there. So still, just going to add to that, but then to trim out once I do get above my average, just to be getting that average down, maintaining the same amount of risk. Link, I've been down in the 30s. Now I'm down at 30%. Chainlink is going to be this one. I couldn't have a hexagon, so I did the asterisk, which has 6 points. That is down here, around 30%. You can see that. And yeah, I think that I will be starting to do a $5 DCA. Is that right? With Link. No, that's a $1 DCA. So yeah, don't want to get too aggressive. Want to manage myself because, I'm doing this big buy, so I don't want to be getting too aggressive with these. Loopring, I was down 45%, but now I'm down only 26%. And Loopring, let's see, where is that? Over here, LRC, that is the white with the blue diamond. 26%, white with the blue diamond. That's right here. So we can see it's kind of flat, 45, and then gone up. So I'm feeling better about that, but I'm not going to risk, $100 on that until, I get that RLC down. Trump, I was initially gotta get Ed out of the way. Sorry about that. So Trump, I was break even, then I came down 1%. Now I'm up 7%, so feeling good about that. That is the white with gold boxes up here. Uniswap was down about 60%. Now I'm down about 50%. That's this one here going up a little bit. And then XRP, I was down 7 to 6%. XRP is the white X. And I believe that's up here. Now I'm up about 1%. So there we go. And yeah, generally, I'm feeling really good about this. I'm excited to be doing some more daily DCAs over here, but a lot of those daily DCAs have been changed to, limit dip buys. If we do get a pullback, I don't want to be getting my average up. I don't want to be exposing myself to more risk by increasing my average. I want to be bringing those averages down unless it's, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the ones I feel a little bit more confident in. So yeah, I mean, that is that. I'm just going to pull this back up so we can see my little chart here. And with that being said, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this Crypto Corner Sat Stacker. And then I will be doing either pre or post market preps every day live stream during the week to get ready for the market each day. Make sure you tune into those. I do go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge in those. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great Saturday, and great Mother's Day to those of you who are mothers. Congrats, and thank you so much for everything that you do for all of us. Take care, you guys. Have a great weekend. See you later.